How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Behind the Sports Desk once again. I'm glad to continue doing these fantastic interviews with all of these incredibly talented athletes and coaches from around the Sac-Joaquin section who can call themselves champions now after Thursday and Friday at Golden One Center. And this one's no exception. Very glad to be joined by the head coach of the Division II Sac-Joaquin section, boys basketball champion Rocklin Thunder, Steve Taylor. Steve, how are you doing?
Doing great. It's been a nice, relaxing weekend after a very busy and you know a hard-working week last week.
I bet, yeah. And the best part about everything. Obviously, we're gonna get into the craziness of the game, the finish, and all that stuff. But afterwards, I always see you so serious out there. But afterwards, you look like a little kid again out there celebrating with your team. You guys were all just so happy together. Just walk me through the emotions, after that final buzzer hit, and how good it felt to celebrate with your guys.
Well, we felt really confident going into the game. We knew Jesuit would be a very, very prepared and talented team, but we also thought we matched up well and had a very good chance to win the game. Didn't go as planned throughout the game as far as being able to make shots and being as good offensively, and Jesuit had a lot to do with that. But that being said, as the game got closer and closer to ending, and we were in a position to have a chance. I think the way things played out and the tide changed so quickly was part of that emotion. It was just natural and organic, and I was just really happy for our kids and our coaches who have put so much time in. So it was just fun, just good old fashioned joy. And I was appreciative of our players going over to our student section and acknowledging them and being able to celebrate and have fun with the kids that have supported our team all year.
Yeah, and that was one of my favorite moments from the entire week. It's not weekend; it felt like a weekend. Was right afterwards the raw emotion, them going over there celebrating. They're trying to get on the court, and the section has to block it off. It was awesome. I mean, it was just one of those great moments in sports. I want to get into a little bit about the game. You guys obviously have players who can score the basketball. You guys have been shown that you're a solid offensive team, but it was a defensive grind out there in the section championship. Jesuit hasn't let a team really sniff 65 on him in quite some time, and this is one that was just a defensive battle coming down to the wire. What makes Jesuit's defense so challenging, and how are you guys kind of able to counter that with your guys' defense as well?
Well, we had maybe two different styles and two different approaches. And, they know our personnel so well. And I think we know them pretty well too, having played twice during league play. And they're so well coached, and we knew they'd be well prepared. Um, I think they did a great job trying to take the strength of our offense away, which was, collapsing on Mark every time he touched the ball within their zone concepts. And they also did a much better job this game of rebounding the basketball. There were a lot of missed shots by us that could turn into offensive possessions if we get a rebound. And they did a real good job matching up. And that's one of the challenges of playing zone is there's not as much accountability and specific box out assignments. But I thought they did a really good job of that. Uh, that being said, we were more man defensive team, and we felt like we had to match up and really kind of put more of an emphasis on stopping Schroeder, number 22, who, just is a fantastic player. But that being said, he made some shots that he hadn't made before when we were really defending him well. So, it's two different approaches, but I think both teams were very prepared. And, they have a good length. They have tough, smart, strong kids. And I think so do we. And so I think they were just two very evenly matched teams. And, the outcome showed that. Could have gone either way, that's for sure.
100%. And it looked like it was going to go the other way there for a while. You guys were down four with, I want to say, 36, 37 seconds to go. And you guys come out of a timeout. You guys get back down the floor. You guys put up a three in roughly about 12 seconds that Reed was able to hit. And then you guys steal the inbounds pass, and Connor lobs it up to Eli, and it's history from there. What were you just telling your team, at that moment of the game when you guys were down four, it looked like everything was against you? How were you able to kind of keep them focused and then obviously execute out there on the floor?
Well, being down four, we weren't necessarily going to have to shoot a three, but if it was there, we'd shot a lot of them all game, and only a few of them went in, but we still had to feel like we had a good chance. And we have a very good shooting team. Sometimes when you play in those larger venues, that impacts it a little bit, but we were confident someone could make a shot. And Reeve has not shot the ball all season as well as he did the entire of last season. That being said, we've reminded him all year how much confidence we have in him and that he should keep shooting the ball when he's open. And his teammates have confidence in him as well. And he happened to be the one to get the ball and take a shot and make it. And then I had told the official that was in front of me, if we make this, I'm going to call a quick timeout. So he gave us the timeout. On the timeout, I reminded our guys we didn't want to foul immediately. We had subbed a couple guys out, one particular Josiah, because he had four fouls. We weren't going to foul immediately, but if we didn't create a turnover in the backcourt, then we would foul immediately in the front court. I didn't want Josiah to get his fifth foul, so we had subbed different players in defensively. But that being said, our kids, we've trapped all year and we've pressured in the backcourt. And so this wasn't something new and foreign to our kids, and they executed it perfectly. Reeve turned the dribbler. Connor came in and trapped the ball. And as the dribbler changed direction, we were able to create a turnover with that. And then Connor had the presence of mind to immediately attack, and Eli was running the floor because he was the backside of the trap. And he made it really, it was a harder play than it looked at the time because he was, had to go up and turn his body, and it was just a big time play by a big time player, I would say.
You have so many talented seniors on this team. We've talked about all of them individually all year, but just the leadership that they kind of give you out there on the floor. Just tell me how all of them have really just stepped up as leaders for some of the younger guys, especially Connor, who barely sniffed any playing time last season and is coming this season, and arguably might be the most improved player in the entire section.
So their leadership really started last year in the spring after our season was over. And one of the strengths of our team last year was our senior leadership. And we had seniors that had been on the varsity for 3 years that were, both vocal and also led by example type guys. And as we kind of reset our team in the spring, Connor and Mark Lavernov from the beginning were out in front, pushing and pulling players to work in the weight room, to be in the gym, working on skill development, and really set the tone for what the next, 6 to 8 months was going to look like for our team. And nobody told him to do that. It was just something that takes place and we kind of like to see how that ends up happening. But those two guys really immediately took on that responsibility. We have an interesting group of players because we have a number of kids. I would say at least half of our team, 10 to 12 kids that play other sports, and four of the juniors play football. So Josiah has a ton of experience in basketball, being his third year of varsity, but he wasn't around in the fall, and also in the summer they have to split time. So uh, Eli wasn't able to come on board until June. And so, we were just getting to know him and learn, who he is over the month of June. So other players, though, the other seniors that were returning, they also did a good job leading. But really, it was Connor DeLobby and Mark who kind of set the tone starting last April and pushing our guys through June. And then when we came back in the fall, it was all hands on deck. We got a great group of seniors. There's 11 of them, and most teams don't have that many seniors. There's not that many kids that are willing to commit and work and go through the process of playing high school basketball for 4 years. We have couple new players in our program, but they're 4 year high school players. So that type of dedication is unusual, and we're lucky to have those types of kids in our program that have put so much time and commitment in. But then as we got everybody out at some point, Josiah has worked himself into more of that leadership role, being more vocal and leading by example. He's as a point guard, is a natural leader on the court. And then everybody had so much respect for Eli. Once he was able to get on the court and start playing, he also pushed himself and pushed people around him and really became one of our leaders out on the court as well. So, right now we have four captains with Mark and Connor and Eli and Josiah, and they've all kind of come into those positions a little differently. Uh, but it's, I think, a strength of our team is the leadership and the experience that we have.
Joe Davidson of the B asked a similar question out in the post game press conference. But now that you've had a couple days to kind of rest on it and settle in a little bit, you've obviously been coaching basketball at Rocklin for decades. How does this section championship and the experience in this game rank with others like 2009 and just the overall experience?
I think what makes this one special, number one, is it's been a while. We've had some really good teams and won a couple league championships over the past 7 years, but we got pushed into the Division I playoffs and we got close, but we didn't get, to the top of the mountain. So the opportunity to play in the Division II section champions this year with the makeup of our team, with some new players, with some kids that are just great athletes on our campus that do more than one sport. And then with our nucleus of guys like Mark and Connor and that senior class, it's an interesting blend of players, and it's different than some of our other teams. So I think it's really special because it's been 16 years since 2009. Uh, from a personal standpoint, I'm getting to the end of my, coaching career. It'll end at some point. I'm not sure exactly when, but I think I kind of treasure and appreciate this opportunity more, knowing that who knows if there's going to be another opportunity. And I've been able to enjoy it with the kids and our coaches along this path. And it hasn't been an easy one. And I think I did mention that, when you have struggles, and then you do have success, I think you appreciate that success even more. The '08 and the '09 teams were so talented that the expectation level was super high, and everybody expected us to win the section. And if we hadn't done that, it would have been a real letdown. And at that time, that we were in the Division II playoffs, and then the '01 was special because it was the first time, but we also had a really talented group and an experienced group, kind of similar to the one we have this year. But we had a nucleus of basketball players, but we also had kids like Jason Yaklich that were great football players, and Brett Swartz and Matt Yaklich, and some of these guys that played two sports. And I think our teams have always been better when we have athletes that are multiple sport kids that are helping, not just our program, but other programs on campus. There's a toughness with our team this year, and some of that comes from the football kids, but it's also comes from all the work that our kids have done in the weight room. So this year's special because it's the timing. It's been a while. I'm getting quite a bit older, and I'm not sure if I'll have a chance to be here again. So I appreciate it, and I'm going to cherish it and just enjoy it as long as it'll go. And then I think this group is special because of how they've come together. If you would have watched us earlier in the season, we weren't as good a team, and we just were struggling trying to play together and find roles. But they've really come a long way, and I'm so proud of our guys.
Talking a little bit about, your coaching legacy. You've been coaching so long that you actually have people that have come back and help coach with you. I know Michael played for you, and now he's reffing games and he's coaching with you out there. I know there's other people that are coaches in the area, like Andre, who got a chance to play with you. And I know, you guys, text from what I've heard, you guys text and you still give him pointers to this day. The program he has over there. How cool is it to just see the hard work that you've put in as a coach pay off and see it kind of return back in the leaders that you have come out of the Rocklin community that are now helping in other ways?
Well, I think that's one of the most just one of the nicest things that we see is when the kids that you work with then end up moving ahead and giving back in one way or another to the game that that they love and that they work so hard at. We have a feeder program. It's called the Rocklin Basketball Club, and it's for grades 3 through 8. Kids that live in our district, they have a competitive program, AAU program, and it's run by a guy named Brett Swartz. I'm sorry, Brett Ost. I was texting with Brett Swartz today, who lives in Orlando. But Brett Ost was the captain of that 2001 team. And he was, first team all Metro, and he was the SFL MVP. And he was on our staff coaching. And then he wanted to start running our youth program. So Brett Ost is running our youth program, and he's a 2001 grad and was a great player for us. And now he's giving back to our communities, making more great players for the future, and does a wonderful job of that. Evan Gustafson, our head freshman coach, was a 2015 grad, and he was in our program, and I coached him as a young kid, and then now he's come back to coach. Mike Keithy was a great player for us, and I think he was 04, and now he's come all the way back after playing professionally and overseas. Now he's officiating and coaching, and it's really gratifying to see your players come back and help and coach. And we've had Andre Reinicke has been coaching in our program, and he was a great player on that 2019 team, 2020. So anytime you can get kids coming back that have done what the players are now doing, the kids that have experienced going through high school, the challenges of that, and they can now work with our players, our current players. That's nothing but really good things. They have a connection. There's a connection to every kid that plays basketball at Rockland, and to have those guys come back and pay it forward, I think is a real good part of our program.
That's great to hear. And just a couple more questions for you. Obviously, you guys aren't done. You're riding a 14-game win streak now into the NorCal playoffs. I know you, like I'm sure everybody else right now, is sitting on eggshells, waiting to see what seed you're going to get, where you guys are going to get put. What do you guys need to do to try to make a deeper run into NorCals and see, where the chips fall, try to maybe make it back to Golden One once again?
Well, I'm hoping that there'll be some common sense approach to seeding the NorCal playoffs. We have had a great year, and we're hoping that we get put in the bracket for the size school that we are, which is Division II. However, wherever we get placed, we'll be excited for the opportunity to play. So whatever bracket, wherever we have to go, or if we get to stay home, our kids will be ready. They're going to be competitive, and they're going to do their best to give us a chance to move on to the next game. Um, this group has really bought into the preparation process, and then the maturity and experience that they have. They approach every game the same way. And we have a saying that the most important game on our schedule is the one that we're playing right now. And they've taken that idea and really bought in. And so I feel like we've been prepared really well. And like you mentioned, we have a 14-game winning streak. We're playing our best basketball. We're healthy, physically and mentally in a good place. So, we'll be excited to see where we play. We're hoping that we'll get if we are placed in the Division II bracket, we should get at least one or two home games. And, we're pretty darn good at home because of the community support we get and the students. It's a tough place for other teams to play. And we'll certainly be excited if we get to play at home, but if we don't, we're going to be prepared and ready to go. And we're going to give it our best effort whoever we play.
I love to hear it. Last question for you, Coach, and you kind of alluded to it already, and I know we spoke earlier this season. Obviously, you're not sure how much longer you're going to be, doing this for, and if this does happen to end up being your final run, what do you want to be remembered as for your legacy of coaching at Rocklin High School?
Well, I think it's always been important to me how our kids play and how they approach the opportunity to play high school basketball. So I'd like to think that our kids are, tough-minded and very competitive out on the court. They also try to play the game the right way. The game has evolved in the last 39 years, and I feel like we've done a pretty good job trying to stay current with the trends in basketball. But the other piece is that I think our players always care about each other and they know their coaches care about them. And so there's a unity and a camaraderie and a connection that is an important part of our program because we ask a lot of the kids, but we also want them to get a lot out of their experience more than just the basketball piece. So I'd like to think that the kids that have played for us, even though it's challenging at times, and they may not always think I'm the nicest guy in the world, that they know that we care about them, and I certainly care about every player that's ever played. But that we're a tough team, we're competitive, and we try to play the game the right way, and that we all care about each other as we're going through that process.
Oh, I love that so much, and it's been an honor getting to watch you guys over the years, and I'm hoping that you guys get to have one more run again. Yeah, hopefully your guys are in Division Two, so we'll see what happens here in the next 30, 40 minutes whenever the brackets decide to come out. But Coach, thank you so much for coming on once again today. That was an incredible game to watch, one of the great finishes I've ever seen. Watching games now for a decade in high school, and yeah, I look forward to seeing what you guys have going forward.
I've watched a lot of games too, and that's going to go down as, if not the most exciting, one of the top two or three most exciting. So I appreciate you, Aaron, and thank you for supporting not just our program, but just local high school sports in general. We need people like you guys out there, and we certainly appreciate all that you do.
Thank you so much, Coach. Good luck, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, thank you.